All right, so we saw the Bears and Ryan Poles make the trade earlier today to acquire Darrell Taylor as a pass rusher for this team. Is this the last big move that we see from Ryan Poles for the remainder of the offseason?
How do you characterize big?
Will there be anything bigger?
Well, they gave up a 6th-round pick for him, right? How big do you consider this? I need to get a base here.
I mean, he's a backup, right?
He's a good player.
Yeah, but he's a backup for this team. Like, would signing Yannick Ngakoue...
Would he be behind Walker?
DeMarcus Walker? I'd imagine so, right?
Yeah, especially because here's the thing. The book on him is he's an absolute pass rush specialist.
Situational guy.
He against the run, that's really why he was available.
Which is fine.
They may do something on part of this, but like I think the key was what you said off season. Okay, I'm going to say yes. Or what was the question?
I'm going to say no.
I'll sum it up. I believe they'll do something similar to this. They got one more move like this left.
But you think that there will be something during the season?
I do too, but I also think before the season starts, that maybe on the offensive line, another depth piece, that they will do something fairly aggressive.
That's just the nature of Ryan Poles,
yes, which I like.
I agree. And again, they've even said, Flu said it. Eberflus said, we're thin at the defensive line, not just at the pass rusher position,
right?
But tackle.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say, yeah. I'll say, what was the question again?
No. Will this be the last? Will we see a move bigger than this the rest of the offseason?
Yes.
No.
Yes. I'm going yes. I think you will. I'm with Sylvia. I think we're going to go.
Do you want to hear Eberflus really quick talk about the DT position?
Right.
Yeah, it's not as strong as deep as you'd want for sure. So there is a concern there, and we'll be looking at that. As we go. I know Cowart's done a nice job in there. For the limited time he's played, today and then before, and in practice he's looked good. So, we have some options there, but we're definitely going to look at that.
All right, so there's a position like what they acquired today was not a defensive tackle.
No.
It was what he's listed as an outside linebacker. He'll be a rush edge here, edge rusher in a specialty situation. I think they got a move or two left.
I agree. So no, yes. However you need to.
Yes, no.
You pick the word that fits my point.
All right, one of the guys who showed out a little bit last night was Tyler Scott. He had 6 catches for 99 yards, including a 37-yard grab down the sideline.
That was nice to see.
What are your expectations for Tyler Scott, knowing that he is a clear-cut 4th receiver on this team heading into 2024?
I think Caleb Williams likes him. I think Caleb Williams likes his speed. I saw him throw to Tyler Scott early in camp, not as much lately. He got the PI then throwing to Scott, and then the drive. That was the first drive that actually got going. I think that was the 4th drive in last week's game. So I think it's important that he makes progress, and I think it was good that he got a lot of playing time to do more than we've seen him do, again, against second and third teamers. But I think it was a good heavy dose that they could see, and that he was more reliable with his hands in yesterday's game.
Look, you're going to need a 4th receiver because, history tells you that as great a player as Keenan Allen is, he'll miss a game or two every year. You're going to need him to contribute. How much he contributes, he'll contribute some, but my guess is Rome, Keenan, and DJ are going to do the majority of the wide receiver in this year. So I think he'll contribute, but I don't think it's going to be some sort of breakout year. Like if somebody's expecting, well, I really think he's going to have a big year, I just don't think there are going to be the opportunities for him on that front. I just don't.
They'll look for him deep, though, a couple of times, take the top off the defense, right?
And hopefully he'll track the ball correctly.
He did yesterday in the one time.
That one's a little easier to track than some of the other throws that are in the middle of the field.
Thayer really brought up that point. I think I brought it up to you earlier in the week. The PI, he really wishes wasn't PI because he wanted to see if Tyler Scott would have come down with it.
Yeah.
He thought that really would have been a good test for him.
If I was working, if I was him, I would have worked all off season, not the entire time, but I would have worked a ton on deep ball tracking. Like you get out there and even if you don't have a quarterback, get someone on the jugs machine and you run post routes and you run 9 routes and have the ball vary where it's going to be thrown, inside, outside, and just work on tracking the football. And then even have somebody run behind you.
I hope he did do that.
Mimicking like that person is a cornerback. So, look, he's got some value. I'm not going to deny that. I don't know how much he'll contribute this year because their wide receiver room is so flush at the top end of it.
All right, the Bears, they finished the preseason undefeated, but what might be most impressive is the margin of victory that they did it in. I mean, they blew out their last 3 opponents. They outscored their opponents by 68 points in the preseason. Is this the best?
Super Bowl, Super Bears, Super Bowl.
Is this the best you felt about Bears depth in recent memory?
I mean, now you're going a little too. 2018 was a pretty deep team. I mean, how recent is recent memory?
I mean, 2018 is over 5 years ago now.
I know.
That's a lifetime for a kid that's 25.
This is the most excited I've been about
27?
the Bears since then. So since Bears 100 in 2019, that 2019 opener for the 100-year anniversary and that kickoff with the Packers, I was as excited for that opening day as I've ever been for an opening day. So I'm as excited this year.
Well, let's hope this year turns out a little bit better.
Yes. Yeah, I know.
That 10-3
One of the most
murdered my
boring football
hope.
games also
Awful.
of all time.
Awful.
It was
I
terrible.
think it's a sign that the overall talent on the roster is much better. And that was the goal because in 3 years ago when Ryan Poles came in, they tore that thing to the studs, and rightfully so. So I think they've done a really nice job building it, and I think the depth has improved. But I think we all have some questions at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football,
yes,
don't
and
we?
that's how you win.
And yeah, let's not be. Look, I'm impressed with their wide receiving core. I'm enamored with their secondary. I really like their linebackers. There's a lot to like about this team. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to lie. I still have some reservations about who they are at the line of scrimmage. And maybe they will make improvements or additions that alleviate some of that worry. But right now, I would say they're better depth-wise, Tyler, but there's still some issues that, I think they need to address.
I heard from 2 people that I respect who said something about the Bears preseason. That's a good indicator. I don't know if that point spread or 4-0 really means anything in the grand scheme of things. But what Carmen said, I really thought was good, and that is they took this preseason and this training camp much more seriously than last year's.
Yes.
And then what Joniak said on the radio yesterday is also true in my book, that 4-0 may not get you anything in the preseason, but he could tell it's a good indicator of what the culture is.
I agree.
And that they've got a good culture going, and that they've got a unit that's together and that wants to do well. It doesn't mean that they're going to start 4-0 or that they're going to be a great football team, but they're in a better place today than they were a year ago.
It's no guarantee, but I believe success breeds success. And if you get used to expecting to be successful and you set the bar high, then I think that you're pointing in the right direction. So
there is this stat that actually I just stumbled upon. The Bears are the 7th team since 2009 to finish a preseason with a point differential of 60 points or more. All 6 of the previous teams made the playoffs, and 2 teams went on to win the Super Bowl.
How about that?
who were the teams that won the Super Bowl?
The 09 Saints.
Was one of them the Ravens?
And the other was the 2013 Seahawks.
Well, the Ravens always take preseason successful, which is, is you can see it in their record in the preseason.
Yeah. There was also, though, I know this wasn't, they didn't dominate probably with a spread, but the famous stat is that the 0-16 Lions went 4-0 in the preseason.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't.
But this is more of a point differential
Right,
stat as opposed to the record there. There was some news on the disgruntled wide receiver front. A couple of guys, CeeDee Lamb, said in a video that he will continue to grind and he's waiting on that phone call from Jerry Jones and the Cowboys. And there was another report that talked about Brandon Ayuk and that the door is not shut yet on him going to Washington, which was one of the early rumored places for Brandon Ayuk. And of course, he has the connection with Jaden Daniels because they were teammates at Arizona State back when Jaden Daniels was just a freshman.
What a soap opera this has been.
And then, of course, there's all the things that are going on with Jamar Chase. Which wide receiver do you think will be hampered most by missing the bulk of this lead in to the season? Chase, CeeDee Lamb, or Brandon Ayuk?
I think it's going to be Ayuk with a new team because.
So you think he's getting traded?
Geez, that's a great point, too, because they keep circling back then and saying, oh, now the Niners may sign him.
Do any of these guys, I don't know, I'm asking, have a history of, like, injuries? Like, does anyone have a hand issue?
Chase has been banged up a little bit in his professional career.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb keeps posting pictures of, like, his workouts on Instagram, but he's also apparently playing video games till, like, 2 or 3 in the morning at the same time, so that doesn't bode well.
I think Chase is who I'm least worried about, if that makes any sense.
He's got 2 years left on his deal. The other two,
and they're in
have 1
win.
year.
Yeah, I just think that he's been in camp too. Ayuk, I guess, has been as well, but we don't know where he's going to end up. He's got such good chemistry
I don't
with
think
his
Ayuk's
quarterback.
been in camp, has he?
He has a little bit, yeah.
Oh, so
Early
He
on,
hasn't been
right?
playing. He's
Oh,
been
right.
doing
He's
the
He's
old
been
left
practicing.
then?
He's
Yeah.
been a hold in.
Yes.
Yeah,
But he's
so
not
I think I think Chase is, it's between, I think it's Ayuk who's going to struggle the most.
I would only go with Chase because he's been the least durable of the others.
I don't think he's as good as the other two either. He's good.
Ayuk, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I mean, Chase and CeeDee Lamb are on the top level, the top of the top. Ayuk is very, very good, but he's not on their level.
But I don't know why him being lesser player is going to hurt him.
I just don't like. I don't like. I just think that their talent will make up for it.
Yeah, I get what Sylvie's saying. Like, Lamb and Chase are true, like, absolute difference makers when they're on the field, whereas Ayuk, he's part of that San Francisco machine.
I don't know. You're the analytics guy. The analytics speak to him being top 5 receiver in the league in terms of different things.
The analytics said last year he was the most efficient receiver in football, like even more so than Tyreek Hill.
What do your eyes tell you?
No, yes, I agree
My
with you
eyes
too,
tell me
Sylvie.
that
But
he's a legit top 10 receiver.
Yeah, but Lamb
What do
and
they say about the other two?
Yeah,
those
they're
guys
top
are like
5.
top 5.
Look,
Yeah.
I agree with that. I'm just saying, like, if they all miss training camp, I think you come back. I don't think one guy, you're a better player if you've been in training camp. Both guys, if everyone's been in training camp the whole time, CeeDee Lamb's still a better player.
Chase has been in camp though. It's been a hold in. Yes, wasn't even
He
you in
practiced quite a
Chicago?
bit.
yeah, he did practice for a couple of weeks.
And he was here in Chicago. So I just think he's had the most stuff go that he's practiced. He's been around the team the most. He's got such a good chemistry with his quarterback.
Every time we talk about this, I just snicker because DJ Moore signed an extension.
Yeah,
At a
It's so
discount.
great. It is so great.
it's good. All right, there you go. There's Aki's A-list. Wilbon's going to join us. We missed him earlier. If he picks up his phone. I got a good one for what to watch for. I started something, and I'm about to finish it. It's very short, too, that I want to fill you guys in on. It's all coming out.